Sometimes all we want is a little encouragement. Sometimes life is so hard. And certainly, living a spiritual life, it is not any different. How do you become the person with faith? How do you become the person who can really trust that God's going to really make a miracle in your life? This is what I had to go through. I had to really think like that. What do I have to do? I have to do aggressive indemnity conditions, and I have to get myself out of the way. What does God want? That is how you make a miracle, because God will certainly work to make His will be done. If you consider that there I was on my way to my job, and I didn't have much time to get there. And if I didn't get there on my first hour, on the first job at the first time, I wouldn't even have a job. It started at 9 o'clock in the morning, and I left at 5 in the morning from Champyong to get there. However, the first anything out of Champyong didn't even leave until 8 o'clock. So the bus that gets to the train did not even get there. So I knew that I would have to find a ride from Champyong to get to the train in Ilsan. And church members don't have cars at Champyong. People who are traveling back and forth on Champyong Road are Korean, and they don't stop for foreigners. So that's my position, and I didn't know where there was a bus, and I didn't know that there was transportation. I didn't know anything. All I knew was there I was. I had to pack, either stay up all night or go as soon as I possibly could after 11 o'clock at night to get back there. So I didn't put anything to chance, and I got up really early. I had my pledge at 5 o'clock as usual, and I left right after that and got all my stuff together, and I started walking down the really long hill in the middle of the night with with all of my belongings in the world stacked up on one little baggage cart and a sleeping bag on top of that, and and the $23 I had left from my trip. It wasn't much. And actually 2,300 won is what it was, because actually 1,000 won is, so it's 23,000 won. In Japan there are hundreds, and in Korea there are thousands. Pretty much. Now it's much different, but that's what it was at the time. Anyway, miraculously, there I was walking down the hill, and a car came by, and I hitchhiked. And someone gave me a ride all the way to Ilsan, and we got there at 8:30. He said, "Where do you need to go?" I go, "I need to go to this address," and I didn't even know what the address was, and I had no idea how to get there. I had no idea what everything was. And he brought me to the door, and I got there at 8:45. And because I knew that this was going to happen, because of everything else that had happened, I didn't even worry about it. But you know what? I had to get the ride at 6 in the morning, because it really took 2.5 hours to get there. And how was I to know that I would get a ride for 2.5 hours with this one guy for free? How did I know? But if I didn't start early, God couldn't have made that miracle. So yeah, that was kind of amazing stuff. And so, as soon as I walked in the door, I really had this inspiration. This job is not going to last. And then sure enough, I prayed, and God said, on the 31st day of your job, this job will end. So start looking for another job right away. Sure enough, on the 31st day, I got a call from Jimmy So, and he said, "Oh, we have this new teaching job for you in Ilsan." And I said, "No, I'm already working in Ilsan." He said, "Oh, I have another one working for the government in Incheon. Do you want to move to Incheon?" I said, "Well, that's kind of far away." He said, "Well, it's a job, and they're hiring." So I said, "Oh, okay." And so that interview was that afternoon, and there was only one position left. and how was I to get from Ilsan to Incheon. So it was very interesting how these things worked out. I was never ever unemployed in Korea for any less than an hour, because that phone call from Jimmy So came at noon, and he called out of the blue. There is another job available for you, because he was the one who got me the job at this place in Ilsan, and he hadn't remembered that I hadn't gotten the job in Ilsan, and it reminded me, oh, that job they're still hiring, because they had just fired me, and they fired me not because I was bad, but because they had already hired somebody else because they weren't sure that I was going to make it or not. So they let me on just for a month, just because they were being nice. So that was another miracle, because that never happens in Korea. So all these miracles happening to me. So then I go on to collaborate on a book with other teachers from America called Jump into English for the Incheon Public Schools. And then during this time, Toshe and I are living together in Shindoshi. And we are, my son is going to Shindoshi Elementary School, and we're learning all about Korea, and we're getting closer as a family, and living happily ever after in America now, because we decided that Justin needs to study English in America. So we did that, and worked out pretty well. I wanted to share this with you because everybody needs to have faith, and without faith, our life really takes a turn for the worse, and God doesn't like that. Pretty sure that when we love other people, care for other people, and do good things for other people, especially when they don't deserve it, there becomes a space available for that to happen. And knowing that this is the case gives you all sorts of power and determination to make it happen. And that's God's will.